This is Tuesdays with Sam Chan, and I'm Brian Kluth, and I'd like to share with you today 7 keys for anyone to live a generous life. All of these keys begin with the letter S. The first S is submit yourself and all you have to the Lord. It's not about giving 10%. It's about giving 100% of yourself to God, all you have and all you are. The second S is to study the scriptures on finances and generosity. No one is born generous. No one is born again generous. Generosity has to be taught and caught and learned. And so you must put the biblical truths of God's word into people's hands and help them to understand the importance of learning to live a generous life. The third S is to learn to see what God has provided. See the things He's provided for you, the talents, the treasure, the time. We are to give from God what He's given us. And so people need to see what He's given them and then give accordingly. We don't give just to get. We give because we've received. We give because we've been given. And so we're to give from what we have. The next S is to set aside resources to give. In my family, my wife and I have checking accounts, saving accounts, and giving accounts. And we literally write ourselves a note frequently every week on all the ways God has provided for us. And then we take a portion of that, at least a tenth of all of His provisions that we can identify, and we set that aside in our giving account. So we have the money we live on and we have the money we give on, and they're separate. And so that money to give on is wholly unto the Lord. It's our job to see what God has provided, our job to set aside resources to give, and then God's job to show us who, when, and where to give it. The next S is to learn to give systematically. People are to systematically give from what they've been given. The Bible talks about tithes and offerings. Tithes are systematic giving. Spontaneous giving is offering. Tithes, you use your head. You literally calculate an amount and you systematically give. You may systematically give to your church, maybe to certain missionaries or to a child sponsorship, but it's systematic giving that you do with your head. You literally calculate it out and you regularly, faithfully do it. The next S is spontaneous giving. This is the idea of offerings in the scriptures. And this is when God stirs your heart to give. And it's not your mind, it's your heart. God stirs your heart. And in my own life, God has stirred me to give money to people, and He's helped me to support projects and programs. I've given vehicles to people. I've given clothing to people. I've given people a place to stay. And that's been spontaneous giving where God stirred my heart. That's spontaneous giving. The final S is to simplify your life to become more generous. When you understand that real joy in life comes from being a generous person, you'll have more joy in your giving. You see, contentment does not come from getting everything you want, but being thankful for what you already have and sharing it. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, godliness with contentment is great gain. So there's real joy in learning to be a generous Christian and then simplifying your life to do so. My wife and I are involved in ministry in Africa. And one of the mottos of that ministry in Africa, where we help needy children and orphans and widows, is we literally have this phrase, we are living more simply so more children and people can simply live. So those are the 7 S's. What are they again? Submit yourself and all you have to the Lord. Study the scriptures on finances and generosity. See what God has provided. Set aside resources to give. Then there's systematically give, then spontaneously give, and finally simplify your life to become more generous. I trust that this blesses you and that because of it, you will be a blessing to others. Thanks for watching.